Okay, welcome back. I'm TantNJess. I'll be running Startropics II at Summer Games Unequipped 2021. This is being made right before then, so this is a speedrun guide for Startropics II. This is the 5th episode where we'll be covering the first part of Chapter 5. And yeah, I'll be showing the inputs I do, the tricks I do. I'm trying to make give general strats on what we do to make things a little bit easier and walking you through each room step by step, as well as how to do some of the optimal things in the overworld as we go along. So we're going to cover the first half of Chapter 5 in this episode. This will be the 5th episode. So yeah, Chapter 5 is San Francisco 1849. It's a gold rush, and it's meant to channel the Wild West. Mike is going to have to find the hidden mine that the tetrad lies in. You're going to go to this village right off the bat, and you'll come talk to the elder. I got good RNG there. Usually he moves up or to the right, but he stayed in place there. As soon as it says good luck Mike, you can hold down and walk right on out. The only other person you need to talk to is the person in the dynamite store. You're going to walk just like this and head over to Bob's store here. He'll give you a piece of dynamite for free for you to blow up the rock wall, so that you can find where the tunnel is that leads to the mine. Now you're supposed to do an activity called the Cactus Dance to figure out where it is. I'm going to go ahead and explain the Cactus Dance. You're going to find this cactus that's facing the wrong way. And the idea was that it'll tell you to kind of go like this, essentially, and work your way out. So it's 2 tiles up from there. The way I like to remember where you're supposed to blow up the rock wall is find the longer gold line, and then it's 3 tiles below that. So 1, 2, 3, and right here is your spot. When you walk against the wall, he'll place the dynamite automatically. So if you walk like right here, he'll place it automatically as well. So do not walk against the wall. Make sure you come to the wall like this. Don't come here because he'll automatically put the dynamite here and you'll waste it. You'll have to go back to the town and get another one. So don't do that. But this is the easiest way. And this will take you right to the dungeon. It's very quick. Easy town section. They don't make you talk to everybody or anything like that. So we'll save the game before we go into the dungeon here. Oh yeah, save and state there. You actually are going to buffer jump up A there when you come into the dungeon. So I've actually got it held, and he'll jump right there, and then you walk right up into the room here. Now the first room is the scorpions. They take 2 hits from the dagger. You can do an alternating fire on these guys, but I find that pretty difficult because of they can sometimes shoot you, and sometimes you need to jump around or fire diagonally, and they move a lot. So sometimes it's hard to get that double shot in. So I usually like to stick with the dagger here. Next thing, you're going to shoot this wall with the Psychic Shockwave and just walk through. Psychic Shockwave only because it's just a tiny bit faster. Here, if you need hearts, go ahead and grab them. They're free. And then you can jump around the boulder just like that. I'm going to go back to the Boulder Room here. So I usually come this way for these scorpions. I start up to the right. Well, up to the right's that way, and then I come back for that one on the left. Sometimes I get hit, and that's okay. I walk just like that to get that rocky out of my way. So I'll use a Psychic Shockwave and then do that. Now the Boulder Room, these hearts are free, so go ahead and grab them. But if you don't like to jump around the boulder like I just did, you can do this, grab more hearts, and then come in the door. It's not a big deal. But it is a little bit faster to jump around this boulder up top. So you do less jumping, saves you some time. And that's how I like to do it. The boulder jump is a little tricky. You can get hit doing it. So it does require some practice, but it is pretty consistent. I usually don't get hit by it. Alright, so I'm going to do it one more time, and then I'll try to get a good safe spot. So here, you're going to walk a little bit over, a little bit up, just like that. Kind of this, and you're going to walk right into that tile diagonally. As you may have noticed this already, but you can walk diagonally to tiles like this, even though they're not really connected. Startropics 1, there's no way you could have done that. And then when you walk in here, you're going to hold right, and then when you land, you'll be in the exact right position to kill this monster. So you'll go 1, 2, 3. They'll die. 1, 2, 3. You have to walk up a little bit, and they die. And then you're going to walk towards the door. You're not going to stand there and get hit like I did. So you'll walk through here. Hold right. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I didn't hold right long enough. Until you hear the sound of him hitting the ground, really. Oh, I didn't hold it long enough again. And that's an optimal room there. Alright, what you're going to do here, you jump up here, jump down to the switch. These purple cobras will charge you like Startropics 1 cobras. You can jump either side, doesn't really matter. You can ad hoc it. Just try to run around the cobras and the scorpions if you can. Sometimes they're asses like that, and there's nothing you can do about it. You want to hope they're not, because we need health for a trick. So if you do get hit a little bit here, that's not a big deal. But this room is very tricky. You're just going to jump up here, jump down there, try to stay out of their way. If you get hit, it's just the way it's going to be. Sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. They're just in your way. So I'm going to go ahead and save state here, because the next room is pretty tricky. We're going to jump down, try to get through the room. Also, try to be mindful that the cobra could come right at you here. So I'm actually going to jump right there. Here you're going to buffer 3 shots. 1, 2, 3. Just like that. That will guarantee that those 2 enemies die right off the bat. Now these other 2 coins, they can come any which way at you. They're very random. They're not predictable. So try to kill one of them out of your way first, and then kind of get the other one in a general direction. I don't really have great advice on this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go diagonal down, try to kill that first one, and let's try to get the other coin to come to me since it's towards the door. I'm going to try to get closer to the door. And there we go. That's good enough. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 1. That was really good. If I got that in a run, I'd be ecstatic. Alright, so the next part of this is going to be a very unique trick that requires you to set it up in the next room and then take it to the boss. So earlier I talked about doing a void walk. We're going to do a void walk to skip this boss, but it's very, very, very specific. It is a pixel and frame perfect trick. If you don't know what damage frame you have, it will be a 50-50 chance of getting it right, even if you get the exact pixel correct. So we're going to do a setup in this room that allows us to nail the damage frame that we need for the void walk skip, but we are going to use pause buffering on the boss to set up the right pixel. I'll explain 2 ways to do the trick, and then I'll probably link to Fulco's guide on how to do this trick, but you'll be able to see what I'm doing on input as I do it, on the camera. So we'll walk into this room. What we're going to look to do is we're going to try to get down to this bottom left corner without taking too much damage. And then I have to do this with a claw grip, sort of. No, I failed it. Okay. I'm going to try and do it once first so that you can get an idea of what the heck is going on, and then I'll try to explain it. Okay, so what the heck just happened? So let me show you I'll show you the pixel part first, okay? So what you're trying to do is that pixel right there. If you're looking, what do I need to do to make this successful? That exact pixel spot is what you're going to do. You're going to come into this room and get to that exact pixel spot. Now I'll explain how I did that in a second. What I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to try and see if the glitch will work. Oh, well, if I could hold directions, it would work. So let's see. How do I start explaining this? So what you want to do, one thing that I explained earlier is that the game can't pause while an enemy is taking damage or dying. So we're going to hit this one of the cactuses from the bottom left corner of the spot of that room that I identified, and then we're going to buffer a pause and buffer an unpause. If you do that correctly, because like for instance, if I press double start here, I instantly repause. Okay? If I'm walking around and I go, if I hold start now, it's going to pause the first frame on the room. And in fact, pause buffers are kind of weird because even if I let go of pause, no, all right, there's some way you can get him to pause without doing it. But what we're gonna do, you can see that he'll unpause in the first actionable frame. I don't have to time it. What I'm looking to do is I'm looking to just double buffer it, right? So you can almost just double tap and hold it, and then he will buffer and unpause. So, but I need to be in that bottom left corner before the door entrance, because that is the exact setup we need. So now I'm there. I don't know if that's gonna work. Then I'm gonna hold diagonal left all the way up to this spot, and I'm gonna start pausing. And the key is, and I didn't get it right because I didn't set it up right, you want to do an even number of pauses if you do this right. Now, if you do what I just did now, this is going to do an odd number of pauses. And I didn't mess it up. This is a very hard trick to do. So, it is not recommended for beginners. Just kill this boss. I'll go over how to kill this boss in just a minute. Oh, so you might have seen that Mike faced diagonal down on the last frame, and that's why I messed it up. Sometimes doing this on a real NES controller, occasionally I do that, and then they mess up. What I'm going to do in this room is, in the boss room, I'm holding diagonal right, and then I'm pausing, and as Mike moves over and gets into the right spot, then I'm going to jump buffer left. That's it. That's all I want to do is jump buffer left. If I jump buffer exactly left, I'll be in good shape here. So the setup is bottom left corner, and if they do that, then you have to know how to react to it. It's weird, but sometimes the enemies don't cooperate. You want to hit the enemy, pause buffer, and then 1, 2. I think I'm too close, and I didn't even. That's the problem I've been having with this controller, unfortunately, is that it is so even I can't do this every time. I could do it probably 50% of the time, even though today's not looking good. It's a very hard trick to set up, and it's a very hard trick to execute on, because you need these guys to cooperate, and then you need to get the exact pixel. And I think I didn't do pause buffering correctly there. So if I can't get the hit, you can do a single shot. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? There's a backup strategy to do it by taking damage. You can do it this way. And when you take damage, you just walk into the room this way and do a single pause. And I wasn't close enough. I was on the right pixel there. And it should work this way. Like that. But it's less reliable and takes more health, which we don't want to have happen. We want to do the damage shot on the cactus if we can help it. There. That is correctly executed. Start to finish, that last one. If you're looking at that exact pattern, that is exactly what we need to do. I got everything right. I set the shot up, buffer to pause, buffer to unpause. This is going to be a damage there. Then there's an odd number. So if you do the damage version and then you walk in where you take damage, you have to do an odd number of pauses. If you do the attack and you do the pause buffer, it's an even number of pauses. So 2, 4, 6, 8, as many pauses as you need. That as long as it's an even number, you'll be on the right damage frame. And as long as he doesn't move either, because you're jumping into that rock that he's throwing. If you touch the boss himself, you instantly die. Now, let's go over fighting the boss if you didn't want to try to do this skip, because this skip is very hard. You walk right through here. What you're going to do is come up pretty close and just do jump shots. And what you're going to do is try to time it so that your jumps always just jump over without having to move back. And you can jump right over those rocks. You can jump over those rocks with perfect timing. And get yourself in a spot so that you just do this and you jump right over the rock. But it's a little bit tricky. So let's do another. And his rock lifting is completely random. He can lift the rock up and hold it there. He can lift it up and down a lot. Now what you're going to do when he dies is you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then jump. There you go. That's an easy way to time it if you want to time yourself onto the platform. It's really simple. So we'll do one more fight of the boss, and then I'll do one more skip of the boss, and then we'll call it a show. 1, 2, whoopsies. That wasn't great. You do not want to take damage because the next level is very unforgiving, and so if there's, if you have to take damage for the skip, it's worth it. The skip saves about 13 seconds. Because the skip does require a bit of setup. If you could do the skip without the setup, it would save a lot more. Which you could technically go for the skip. You could still do the same pixel perfect skip. But you wouldn't have the damage frame locked, so you would just be, flipping a coin to see if you got the trick to work. Which I'll demonstrate, right? You could just go for it and just be like YOLO and see where you end up. I was too close. There, I got lucky. So you can just YOLO it if you want, but it's really worth the consistency to just set it up. I mean, unless you already only get it 50% of the time anyway, then at that point, if you're having trouble getting it, then that's fine. If you find, like I just did right there, if you find that you pause buffered in the exact right spot, then just go ahead and make the jump and do your pause in midair like I just did. So a lot of times I use the pauses to set up where I am, and I start pausing a little early, so I can make sure I get on the right pixel. But in that case, I actually did pause on the correct pixel, so I couldn't do a second buffer. So I just jumped and did another pause buffer in the air, and that gave me the right timing to make the jump work. So, and then once you've cleared the boss or skipped the boss, walk right on out, and that's chapter 5.1. So the next level is 5.2. That'll be the next episode, and we're going to cover the two very, very difficult bosses in that level, as well as some strategies that you can apply. So we'll see you on the next episode.